So I had a few people that were asking me to do a show on COVID-19 coping skills. So I thought we'd try that. And I figured we'd go with the visual here. So I left the dogs, both dogs today in the picture. So the first part I wanted to talk about is with the CDC recommendations. But I thought everybody knows that by now and you can look that up. So I figured let's just skip past that. But I did want to show you this. My girlfriend's daughter did make me a mask. And if you can see, I'm a Who fan. So check this out. So I have my official Who mask. Then, but just in case anybody's actually worried, I've got the official N95 one as well.
Your friend took your other mask, Joe.
Did he take it? Get that back.
He's doing.
That's right.
He's doing
That's
Nelson's doing the COVID.
So let's get into the actual important part. What I wanted to talk about is grief, because many people, probably all of us, have lost something. Whether you've lost a job, whether you're still employed but you're underemployed, you have to know someone who's going through a difficult time. And we all actually are. Our lifestyle has changed. I mean, going to the store the other day, everybody's wearing masks, which is really strange. I went to Japan about 15 years ago, and a lot of people were wearing masks there, and I thought, wow, what a crazy place. And now it's here. So this is becoming normalized. I have no idea how long it's going to last, and probably nobody else does either. So it adds a lot of anxiety to our lives. But if anybody, we all probably have gone through grief. We've all lost someone, or we've all lost a dog. And when that happens, it's probably one of the most lonely situations you can be in. Because in our society, nobody wants to hear you. Nobody wants to talk or listen to you tell them about the loss that you've had. You know, you have a couple of days to deal with it, maybe a week. And after that, no one wants to really talk to you about your loss. But in this situation, the loss is not an individual loss. This is a loss for everybody. So in this sense, misery loves company. We can actually talk about it with other people. Every person out there you meet and every one of your family members has something to say, so we can grieve together. So in that sense, it's actually a really good thing. We can come together in that way. I also wanted to talk about what I like to call good grief, because through grief, something good is going to happen. The last time that we went through a recession, 2007, 2008, I lost half of my personal training business. And I had no idea what to do, but I did know that I have time to go back to school, which is something I always wanted to do. And I was making excuses never to go back to school because I was working so much. And I could not justify losing clients or saying no to clients in order to go to school and rack up a bunch of school debt. But when I lost like half of my business, I thought I have no more excuse, so I went back to school. So now that we're looking at it about 12 years later, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, so I look at it as good grief, so you can turn it around. I do speak to people, and it's very possible that somebody loves their job, but they work for themselves, and their paycheck is scattered. It's very up and down. So maybe this time might be a good time to go back to school to get a job that is, say, a basic 9-to-5 job, maybe something in the medical field that there's probably no recession for those types of jobs. So maybe that could be a good thing for you. So I do think good things come from grief. I think we have to have this talk, or people out there should be asking themselves very tough questions like, what is essential? And as we find out, a lot of high-paid workers are not that essential. The essential people are the people working in supermarkets. They're the truckers, these types of people that keep the food chain and supply going. So we need to have that talk too. What is essential? I would say probably putting family first, but that's me. You have to come up with your own answers on that. I also think that through this time, when you're quarantined and you're locked down, that you can't be distracted by all these things that we usually get distracted by. And because of that, you're going to have some alone time to really think about who you are and what you are. And you might realize that you are not comfortable being in a room by yourself. you need to be distracted, and that's actually a problem. In American society, we try to distract people all the time. We try to get you to buy things, to do things, to be somebody else, anything but actually look at who you are as a person. Well, I think that's a false, inauthentic way of living. So maybe now we're forced to actually take a good, hard look at ourselves and see if you like what you see. I also had this thought about going back to the future, so to speak, because I see so many people with their heads in the phone, their laptop, doing things. They're not with their families. And I thought, well, maybe we'll go back to the future, right? Like, what is wrong with the 70s and 80s, where people would have dinner at the same time, people would have breakfast at the same time, families would talk, they would all watch the same show at the same time. They all didn't have their device all sitting in a room, distancing themselves. So I think maybe these are some discussions that we need to have. So maybe this grief that we're feeling, some really good things can come of it. Let's get to some more basics. One of the things I notice is if we're going to go through this, we need to strengthen the immune system. It doesn't make sense to sit around all day at home and whine, cry, and complain and not do anything. If you want to get sick, a good way to do it is to sit around and be anxious all day and eat bad food and just be sedentary. So we need to fight against that. So the number one thing we need to do is physical activity. Now, I'm not going to do any physical activity here, although I work out every day. I'm going to try to do something, and I don't think I can do well at it today. So we're going to do it live just to show you that I'm going to keep trying. So I am actually on the list of people who have underlying conditions that COVID-19 could probably kill me. I was born with asthma. I've been in and out of hospitals more times than I can count. And every time I get a cold, every time I get anything, it goes right to my chest, and I've had pneumonia more times than I can count too. So one of the things I practice is increasing my lung capacity. So I'm going to try this because I don't think I can actually do it today, but I'm going to show you that I'm going to give it my best. So, all right, don't laugh if I miss. The idea here is to keep this blue dot in between these arrows. I'm going to try to make this blue plastic thing here go all the way up to the top. All right, you ready? All right, with the pressure on, I actually did it. Okay, so that means my lungs are actually pretty good, which is excellent because, like I said, I'm very compromised in the lung area. So I've been practicing. So all right, well, good for me. So the next part I would say is your nutritional program is really important. And again, if you go to the store and you want to do some social distancing, get yourself some fruit and vegetables. There's nobody there. Don't go looking for Hot Pockets and Cheese Whiz and all the garbage that people eat. If you want to die sooner, eat processed food. There's no nutritional value in it. It's absolutely nutritionally dead. So you want fruits, vegetables, you want some grains, nuts and seeds, and lean protein, of course. Now, you're probably saying, well, it costs a lot of money, I don't know this. Listen, it's this simple, right? Here's my dinner, right there. We got lettuce, we got seeds, we got cranberries, we got turkey. It's simple. There you go. No problem there. To fill out the gaps of your diet, you want to supplement a little bit. Interestingly enough, the vitamin stores in Las Vegas, where I'm at, they're considered to be non-essential. I can't imagine. You're trying to keep your immune system up, and they consider a health food store to be non-essential. I don't understand that, but listen, I don't have the money to pay off different people in government, okay, so not my fault. But you still can go to supermarkets, and they do have a vitamin section. Again, you're going to be able to keep not 6 feet distance, 12 feet distance, because there's not going to be anybody there buying vitamins. So a good multivitamin is a good thing for you to do. And to give you the top 4, I would say, for your immune system, vitamin D, which also means you want to go outside. You want to see the sun a little bit. Zinc, vitamin C, and elderberry, which I was going to show you that. It's a thing you can put under your tongue. but I didn't bring that upstairs for you, so you'll have to figure that out yourself. Also, to increase your immune system, sleep. Sleep is really important. And what I would add to sleep is structure. I can't tell you how many people I'm doing therapy with, and it's just outrageous to me. I don't want to act like their father or something like that, especially when I'm dealing with people's parents, because they get a little touchy, about like I'm coming into their family to tell them what to do. But listen, if you have a 12-year-old kid, an 8-year-old kid, I don't care. They shouldn't be sleeping in bed at 4 in the afternoon. I don't understand this. I got kids that they're telling me that they don't fall asleep until 4 or 5 in the morning. And what are they doing? They're playing video games. They're not doing anything. There's no structure in their life. If you want to get sick, don't follow any structure. That's another good way to do it. Listen, I don't have kids living with me anymore. But there is no way in this world that I'm going to let kids sit there and play video games all night long to 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and then sleep all the way through the next day. I just don't understand how people do this. When you ask these kids, what do they eat? They'll tell you, I don't know. I grab a potato chip when I want. Again, no structure. Where's their breakfast? Where's their lunch? Where's their dinner? Where's their reading time? They're still going to school. How in the world are these kids still staying at home and they're not going to actual school? They have it online, but just because it's online and you don't have a teacher over your head doesn't mean that you shouldn't have the honor and dignity of trying to learn and to be a prosperous person in this community. I don't understand that. So again, more sleep and structure. I would also add that we do need at this time, which is very, very difficult for everybody, including me, is to decrease stress. And how do we do that? Sometimes we could take that into our own hands by trying meditation. And meditation is a good thing because we can just learn to breathe and to try to blank out thoughts in the mind, which is very difficult to do, by the way. So I'm not good at it myself. So what I like to do, I like to use guided meditations because my mind does wander. So I'd rather have a guided meditation because then someone could at least let my mind wander into a particular direction. And in that sense, I end up getting some very good sleep. And of course, that does increase the immune system. The other part about decreasing your stress, very important. The Stoics said this over and over again. If you'd only learn one thing from the ancient Stoics, it's this. Learn what is in your control and what is not. The things that are not in your control, forget about it. Why bother about something that's not in your control? But the things that are in your control, you have to do your absolute best to control it the best way you can. If you're a mother, you want to be the best mother you can. You want to be a father, you are a father, be the best father you can. You're going to school, be the best student. And there's ways to do this that things are in your control and you need to do that. The other thing I'd like to talk about is maintaining social connection to people. I know we're going through this time where we call it social distancing, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous. We've been social distancing for like the last 20 years. As we've gotten into computers and everybody's online, everybody's on Facebook and social media, they're curating their lives, they're photoshopping their pictures. All we're doing is being fake and we're separating ourselves from ourselves and other people. Social distancing has been going on for 20 years. What they really are trying to say is that we should be physically distancing, 6 feet apart. And that's fine. But the other part is actually more important, I think, is that let's not social distance. We need to physical distance. Yes, I get that. But the social distancing will kill you. You understand what I'm saying? Physical distancing. They're using that word as social distancing. They're wrong. They're not therapists. I'm telling you the difference. Social distancing is this. Every time you decide to text somebody instead of call them so they can hear your voice and you can hear their voice, you're social distancing. Every time you're playing a video game or allowing your kids to play a video game, instead of doing something where they can connect with you as a person or maybe doing something physical, again, that's social distancing right there. And again, I live in a community here where we have a cul-de-sac. I've been here for a fair amount of time. I don't even know my neighbors' names, and they probably don't want to know mine. Again, if you're living in a place where you don't even know your neighbors' names, this is very, very different from the 1970s and 80s and through the 90s. So we are social distancing already, and it's killing us. So stop the social distancing. Again, physical distancing, yes. Social distancing, no. Another version of social distancing, I would say, is even in entertainment, right? People make these playlists that they like. They only like a certain song, and that's it. But they don't necessarily track the artist. Now think about this. So that distances you as well. Instead of listening to the radio and hearing music or songs that you have never heard before, or maybe something brand new that you would like, you don't do that. You don't connect to a DJ who's telling you about the local stuff in your community. You're not connecting to your society that you live in. You're sitting in your own walled-off echo chamber world, listening to the same songs over and over again with no other personalities other than your own. And think about it too when you pick music in terms of you only pick one song and one song and one song instead of an album. How does that affect your life? Well, what it does is it walls you off from actually following an artist from where they are and to where they go. So in your own personal life, you just want to take action. There's action for you. Well, it can get a little loud sometimes. So can Nelson. So what I'm saying there is think about somebody like Bob Dylan, who's been an artist for like 50 years. Instead of following his social commentary for 50 years and growing with him, as a person, what people are doing now is they're just cherry picking ideas or one song here, one song there. And what that really does is it does the same thing as people. Now when you talk to a person, how do you have a long-term committed relationship to anybody if you only want their highlights? Because trust me on this, you're going to get some highlights, but you're going to get a lot of lowlights too. And if you're the type of person that has put yourself in a situation where you only like what you like when you like it for only a short amount of time, you are not going to have good relationships at all. And it will, again, you're starting the process of social distancing. We've been doing that for like at least 20 years. Let me say that over because somebody's going to say I'm trying to kill people here. I got it. No. Again, let's have some psychology here. This has nothing to do with that. Physical distancing is what you want. You don't want people breathing on you, that kind of thing. But let's stop the social distancing. We need to get connected to people. Instead of texting them, why don't you call somebody? Instead of listening to one 3-minute song and putting it away and not even know who the artist is, follow the artist. That person probably has a really good heart. They have a lot of intelligence. They have a lot of talent. Follow them as they grow. You will grow too. And I think I took up enough time for everybody today. And Lola wants to say goodbye, even though she was talking a lot during that. And Nelson wants to say goodbye too, and he needs to give me back my mask. I don't know where he put it. All right then, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you next time.